Pisces, thanks for tuning in to your October of 2014 horoscope. My name is Athen, and it is eclipse season once again. You heard me talk back in April about the eclipses that took place, and now the eclipses are coming to a culmination this month. And where there's a culmination, there's also a new beginning, and then that's going to set us off into a different path. So what's culminating for you right now is your first house. The lunar eclipse on the 8th is happening in your first house. So think back to April. Think back to whatever changes took place in your life, whatever changes were happening, what's been leading up to this point now in October, and you're going to get a good indication as to what this is. But it's very powerful, all right, and it's working its way on the molecular structure of who you are. It's something that you might see ahead of time, but it's going to be completely different when you're actually experiencing it. But in either case, it has to do with you. It's the house of life. It's the beginning of the whole Zodiac spiral. It's the beginning of your whole life. It's your whole life in general. And so a lot of you are setting off into a new direction. Okay, because that's the transformative energies of the eclipses. There's always a new direction. But for you, it's a new direction in your life. And you've had Uranus transiting your first house, okay, which suggests that your higher self is seeking expression through yourself, through you. Okay, and so you really want to tap into that, and I think you guys are tapping into your true self, your true higher self, and letting that shine, letting that out. And you'll notice the more you do that, the more you step into that power of the first house. And power is emphasized a lot for you because the solar eclipse on the 23rd is happening in your 8th house. So all of these changes, okay, that are culminating for you in October are going to set you off into a new beginning in terms of your personal power. Now here's how I see all this kind of connected here. The first house is really about you stepping into the role of co-creator. You having the confidence and courage to take your first step and next step and step after that in life, to move. It's the first house of getting things moving, starting off into a new direction. It's the house of new beginnings. So for you, it's really claiming your power as a co-creator, okay? And I think when you do that, when you realize this immense power that you have over your life, it's going to set you off into that new direction. And that new direction is 8th house. And that direction is about spiritual power. Realizing that while you're co-creator with Source, you're also a spiritual being with immense spiritual abilities and spiritual power. That's what the 8th house really symbolizes. And you guys have had Saturn transiting your 8th house for quite some time, 2.5 years, and he's leaving there at the very beginning of November. So you guys have been putting a lot of work into your 8th house, the transformational house, into your spiritual selves, into your spiritual power. And so hopefully I think you guys are really understanding how to wield this, how to wield, the spiritualness into a direction, okay? But it's about merging. And the 8th house is really the house is that as long as you're doing what's right to you, okay, what you consider the right path, and merging both the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine, in that alchemical process, the two polarities, the good, the bad, whatever, merging them together, which in other words means embracing both within yourself, embracing all aspects of yourself. And then when you do that, you tap into the immense spiritual power that is the 8th house. So I think, with Saturn there's a lot of that kind of energy, all right? And so I think if you guys, continue with this, finishing up this Saturn cycle there, finishing up this mastery, this discipline that you guys are working with in this area, I think when you do that, it's sending you off into a new direction, a new spiritual direction. A direction where you have a much more powerful control over your own life, and you release yourself from a lot of the things that try to bind you, that try to control you. All right, so really the emphasis I'm getting here, it's about you. It's about you merging with your true self, embracing all aspects of yourself, and taking that step into your life, into the direction. And then Saturn's going to go into your 9th, and then there's going to be a lot of work on your path and stuff from this new direction for you guys. All right, so it's a very transformative month for everybody, but particularly for you guys. First house eclipse, 8th house eclipse, right before the 9th, onto a new path, onto a new direction, through the transformational process of merging the yin and the yang together. Okay, that's how I see it. Now, this 8th house is playing a role for the whole month. Now, at the very beginning of the month, Mercury is going retrograde in that 8th. So something there is going to cause, something around the 4th, I think, or not cause because we're not being affected by anything, but you're going to start thinking about something in terms of that in the first half of the month. And so reflect on this. Continue to think about it. Reflect on those 8th house matters. The house of change, beginnings and endings, and whatever else. And releasing and embracing. And think about it. And so those thoughts, the more you uncover this month, through the 23rd, or through the 25th, while Mercury is retrograde, the more you uncover, the more insight you're going to have that's going to only help you and support you in this new direction. It's a very positive month for the eclipses. Lots of trines, lots of sextiles, supportive, easy energy. So we may not choose to do anything this month, some of us, but the opportunity is there, and those opportunities are in those areas. So I suggest really reflecting on that this month. Now, for the first half of the month up until mid-month, the Sun and Venus will be in your 7th. Okay? So finishing up from the second half of September, you guys, for the first half of October, will continue to, I think, have something, some energy and some creation in your relationships. I think a lot of you are creating new relationships in your life, finding new ones, establishing new ones, but also enjoying the existing ones in your life as well. So keep doing that. And this is all very important because the 7th house teaches us lessons of the 8th house. And the 7th house lesson is that of unity, of coming together, of mutual respect. Because when we respect others, it's a sign of how we respect ourselves. When we enjoy others, it's how we enjoy ourselves. And so there's an embracing aspect to the 7th house of unity, of coming together, again, of those two polarities coming together. So enjoy that 7th house. Enjoy your relationships for the first half of the month, and then things are going to shift into more meaningful aspects of life. You're going to want to get deeper with the relationships. You're going to want to get deeper with yourself. Okay? And that's where the second half of the month is taking you, into the 8th house of change, of depth, of getting the more meaningful aspects of life. Life is great on the surface, but it's even better when it's deeper and more meaningful. And that is the shift for you, especially with Venus and the Sun going into your 8th. Now, like I said, there's a grand trine, and the grand trine's involving Mars, Jupiter, and that first house of change. And so the way this kind of works is you want to, the trine is wherever you put energy on either of the corners of the triangle, it's supporting and putting more energy into the other sides. Okay? So really doing all three of these things that I'm going to mention. Mars in your 9th, Jupiter in your 5th, and then the eclipse in your 1st is all going to support each other. So with Mars, for the first half of the month, he's going to be in your 9th. So keep putting that energy into your guys' path. You guys, September and then now first half of October, putting energy into the path, expanding your horizons, setting off on a direction, or just opening up. Okay? Excitement, tapping into the excitement of life. Perhaps some of you are, on a mundane level, it could be travel, it could be studies, it could be wisdom, spirituality, stuff like that. Keep doing that because that's supporting you. And it's supporting you in all these areas I've mentioned. And it's also supporting you where Jupiter is. Jupiter's in your 5th. Okay, so there's a lot of expansion in your life, and you're realizing the importance of enjoyment and joy in your life, and how the more joy you have, the more it supports the rest of your life, and the more excitement and the more opportunities that brings. So keep doing that. Keep opening up. And open up your heart. It's the 5th house. Let that joy out. Let that joy fill you up. It's infinite. It's there. All you got to do is just open up, right? So keep doing that, guys. And that's going to support all these changes. It's going to support your 9th house. It's going to support the path, support all this transformation, support your relationships. Now, mid-month, Mars is going to go into your 10th, so there'll be a shift, and I think it's the same shift. When you start getting more meaningful with the 8th house stuff that I'm talking about, there's going to be a shift into you guys wanting to, I think, share this through your work. Okay, put this energy, this deeper stuff into your work with Mars going into your 10th. So for the second half of October and into November, keep putting that energy into your work. I think that's going to support you as well. There's a lot of, the more you do that, more you're of service. Because what's transformation? What's all this stuff we're doing with ourselves if there's no channel? And so the channel, I think, has an opportunity here to be with everyone else, which sometimes is through your work, but it's really just being of service. just being of service to humanity. So the second half of the month is really emphasized there. All right, guys, so I'm going to draw a spiritual astrology deck here just to get a little bit more guidance as far as where Spirit would like me to put a little bit more emphasis on your reading. Okay, Jupiter. All right. So Jupiter is, like I was saying, is in your 5th house. So I think this is Spirit trying to get me to put a little bit more emphasis in here. Now Jupiter's in Cancer, in your 5th, and you guys naturally, your true selves, your light, your heart is emotional. So what this is, I think, telling me is keep expanding that emotional side of yourself. Keep expanding your feelings out into creation, because Jupiter is the expansion principle. Okay, if you think of like sacred geometry, you know, Jupiter's like the expansiveness, the light, and Saturn's the refinements. But it's just opening up those horizons. I think the more you see the big picture in terms of life being about joy, being about, you know, happiness. That's why we're here, ultimately, is to enjoy this transformational process of growth through life and seeing the beauty in that. And setting off onto a path of joy, I think, is really going to open you up and, again, create opportunities in all these areas for you guys. I think that's what this card's really showing me. All right, Pisces, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for tuning in. Please be sure to subscribe for my daily, weekly, and monthly horoscopes. Take care, and I'll see you next time.